Welcome to Empowered Women in Business International Radio. I'm your host, none other than Nicole Mosby Taylor, also known as Taylor K on the mic. And we have another phenomenal evening set for you all. But first, let me share about EWBI. We serve a sisterhood of women entrepreneurs that understand that individually we can do great things, but collectively we can forever change the world. Members of our movement experience a support system that allows them to celebrate their wins and share their struggles in a series of opportunities that enhance them personally and professionally. If that sounds like an organization that you would like to be a part of, visit our website at www.ewbiradio.org. Again, that's www.ewbiradio.org. Our quote of the day today. Our quote of the day is, speak up, because the day you don't speak up for the things that matter to you is the day that freedom truly ends. Speak up, because the day you don't speak up for the things that matter is the day your freedom truly ends. Author unknown. So you will understand why I chose that quote when we bring our phenomenal guest, none other than Miss Quinn Conyers, to our virtual platform. Give it up for Quinn. Welcome.
Hello. I'm happy to be here. And I love that quote, by the way. Love it.
Oh, awesome. Why do you love it?
Because I think it's accurate. I mean, I'm a firm believer that quiet women don't make history. So if you're not speaking up, I mean, it's good. That's the day that basically everything stops in your world. Your voice is your secret weapon. So if you're not using it, you losing it.
Right. What do they say? If you don't stand for something, then you will sit down for everything.
You fall for everything. Exactly.
That's right. Yes. So welcome, Quinn. So some viewers will know you and be more familiar with you, and some won't. So tell us a little bit about who Quinn Conyers is.
Absolutely. Well, yes, my name is Quinn Conyers, and I broadcast the brilliance of Black women in business. I show them how to turn conversations into cash so they can profit from public speaking. I personally believe that every entrepreneur, every author, every speaker needs to know how to maximize and monetize all speaking opportunities on behalf of their business, their book, or their brand. However, many people don't. So they are leaving money on the table. They are saying no to speaking opportunities, or they just don't know how to really speak up for themselves when they have opportunities to really share what is they do and how they serve the world. So I come in and make sure they have the words, the language, and really the confidence to be the spokesperson for their business, for their book, and for their brand. And I'm happy to be on your show.
Awesome. Well, we are so happy and pleased to have you. You are just truly amazing. And I just can't wait for everyone who's listening to hear everything that you have to share so that they will agree with my sentiments.
Awesome.
So I know that you recently have a new book out.
Yes.
Right. And your new book is, tell me the name of the new book.
So the book is called Speak Black Woman: How Women in Business Can Profit from Public Speaking.
Awesome. So now, how Black women can profit from speaking. That's so powerful. That's powerful. What made you choose first that target audience of Black women?
Well, it's honestly a good friend of mine, Tiffany Bethia, who you know very well. We've been friends for a while. And I remember going to one of her events, and afterwards we talked about it. And she would ask me, like, Quinn, did you enjoy it? I'm like, oh, I loved it. And she's like, yeah. I was like, I met some really good people. And she's like, Quinn, what kind of people come to the events that you have? And I said, women. And then she said, what kind of women? I'm like, Black women. And she was like, well, why don't you call them out? Why don't you choose them? And I was like, well, why do I have to choose them? I'm obviously Black. I'm a woman. They can see that. And she said, there's something about being chosen. And you've been giving us very Afrocentric vibes lately between your head wraps, your scarves. Like, it just seems like even when you go to certain events, if it's a regular event, you're like, oh yeah, I had a good time. But if it's a Black woman in business event, you light up differently. So unconsciously, I felt like I had already chosen them and didn't know it. And before I got into doing what I'm doing now, I had a bag business called Purse Paparazzi, where I super served Black women in sororities. So literally I had the AKA license, the Delta license, the Zeta license, the SG Row license. So I've always served Black women, but for whatever reason, when it came over to coaching and speaking and writing books, it didn't translate. It was just like, I work with women in business. But when I looked at who had my back, Black women, who really positioned me to put food on my table by buying my purses, Black women, who confirmed and affirmed me when I was at all these regional conferences, Black women. So it just really made sense, and her like opening up my eyes to how I already had a relationship with the Black woman, and how I realized that they were coming to me. I'm talking about degreed up, bachelor's, master's, PhDs, certificates, 10, 20, 30 years of experiences, but still didn't know how to speak up for themselves. That's why I chose them, because she is me and I am she. And at the end of the day, I feel like every now and then you need a cheerleader and a champion who looks like you, who can literally tell you and really show you the value in your voice.
Right. I think it's important for us to understand that you may have something that I don't have, and I may have something that you don't have, and we can work together to help build each other. Right. There's nothing wrong with us working together to help build each other. And it seems like sometimes, people feel like, well, I'm already here. They might not be there, and I can't work with them. What would you say to those people? Because that's so far from the truth. And it sounds like you're kind of like, like, as long as she's a Black woman, bring her on.
It depends, right? Because I think there's different layers. Like, I tell people all the time, even though I super serve Black women, if you're Asian, Latina, or white, doesn't mean that I can't serve you. And also, certain demographic, I want to work with women who know that they have a voice and they're not leveraging it. So if you're deathly afraid of public speaking, I'm not your client. No, you're not my client. I will refer to you to somebody else. But if you're like, you know what, I've been having this business, I have this movement, I've been getting speaking opportunities, or my business is requiring me to speak, you're the person who I want to work with, because I want to show you how to maximize and monetize the opportunities that you're already getting. But if you're coming to me like, oh my God, I'm deathly afraid, like every time I think about speaking, I'm about to faint, you're not the person I want to work with, right? So even though I say Black women, it still is a certain caliber of Black women that I'm looking for. And this is the person who is not afraid of their own voice, but they know they're not leveraging and leaning into the full capacity of their voice. Does that make sense?
That sure does. That's powerful. Yep. It's important for you to know your audience. As a speaker, as a writer, as a business owner, you have to know your audience. And Correct. So you have clearly explained who you are, what your audience looks like. So that makes it a lot easier for people to gravitate to you, because they know, okay, I'm that sounds like me. So that sounds like someone that I would need to definitely align myself with.
Right. Absolutely.
So let's talk a little more about your book. So we know that your book is, is catered to Black women, women in business. And like you said, you've already shared with us how you can help them to turn that conversation around and make it more profitable. what other, could you give us a secret from the book? Is there something that you could just tell us that just, let people know why they're going to go, right after this broadcast and go out to purchase this book?
Yeah, you can either purchase it, or I would love to invite everyone who's listening to the Speak Black Women celebration. It's happening on June the 5th, and it is free to attend. And I am diving into chapters. I'm talking about how I lost, leaned in, and leveraged my voice in every aspect of my business. So if you know for a fact that you want to speak more, or you're getting more speaking invitations and you're trying to figure out, like, how do I even do this? And also, I'm redefining profit. A lot of women that I talk to, especially when they enter this speaking space, like, who can pay me? Who can pay me? So as an entrepreneur, I'm showing you how to use speaking as a marketing strategy, as a lead generation, as a revenue stream in your business. So I take speaking and I pimp it out for entrepreneurs so they can use it in various ways. I'll give you a tip, a secret that's in the book that I'm going to dive into on June the 5th at the Speak Black Woman Experience. And if anybody wants to attend, just go to speakblackwoman.com, click on events, you can get your complimentary ticket. But one of the ways that I funded my bag business, Purse Paparazzi, was through speaking. To be honest with you, I entered business pitch competitions. And if you're not familiar with business pitch competitions, it's when you give your best 30-second, 60-second, 90-second elevator pitch, and whichever entrepreneur has the best pitch, they go home with cash prize. So I would win $1,000 here, $5,000 here, 10 grand here. So total, I won over $77,000 pitching my business in various competitions. So I explained, like, you using public speaking can now be a funding source for your business. And business pitch competitions are happening all over the place. And some of that prize money, $100,000, $250,000. I just hosted a business pitch competition for Black Girls Ventures and Nike, and the grand prize was $60,000.
Wow. Awesome.
And they had to use their voice. That's how you profit. You profited by getting money, and a lot of that money you don't have to pay back. So if you need funding, you need revenue, you need funds to either start or expand your business, speaking is a way you can do that. That's how I fund my business. And I actually dive into that in the book as well.
I remember myself and the journey that I had to go on, right? So when I would be in the room with the right people, but I would be in that room in a corner somewhere, maybe on my phone or talking to like one person in my comfort zone. And then I had to learn how to get out of that, comfort zone and start working the room.
Yeah.
And that was one of the reasons why we started to have Thriving Business Thursday, which is our networking event, because we understood that we needed to put people in that room and to give them that opportunity. So we actually created space and time for people to get up and walk around, because people don't realize what they're letting money go. They're leaving, as you say, leaving money on the table, right?
Yeah.
So I just wanted to spotlight that, because it's so important for us to find our voice. It's so important for us to find our voice, whether it's a social issue, whether it is pertaining to our business, no matter what it is, we have to find our voice, because it's important for us to share how we feel. And if we don't share how we feel, then what happens? No one knows.
You're absolutely right. And I feel like we don't understand the power of our own voice. We don't understand how important public speaking is to our businesses. And public speaking is so relevant in every aspect of our lives. But when it comes to our business, especially as Black women, we don't see the relevance or the value as we should. I'll give you an example. When I was taking my son to his very first doctor's appointment, and to his one year doctor's appointment, she asked me, does he know 6 words? And that threw me off. Not does he know how to eat? Is he potty trained? But does he know 6 words? Because speech was literally assessed as a developmental milestone. So think about it, if your child is 5 or 6 and haven't said a word, you're running around to every specialist, right? Or even think about when your baby says dad for the first time, you mad. I carried your little butt for 9 months. You're like, say dad first. Like, you better say mama. So we celebrate that. You said mama, right? Or even like, God forbid, if you're getting arrested, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do can be held against you. So now that's all your Miranda rights. Again, how speaking impacts your life. You can be arrested, say something crazy, and they can hold that against you. Not even do something, but say something. And we think about, even people being married, right? If you've ever been to a wedding, there's a question they ask you. Well, do you take this man? Do you take this woman to be your husband, your wife, whatever? You can't give a thumbs up. You can't give a head nod. You got to say, I do, or I will, or your union is not valid in all of the 50 states. So when we think about speech and we think about public speaking and our using our voice, it shows up in so many aspects of our lives. But I feel like when it comes to business, we don't give it as much time and attention that it needs. That's why I'm on a mission just to kind of open up our minds and our hearts to say, like, listen, you being vocal in your business can be the reason why your business fails or flourishes. And that's how I kind of tell my clients that you need to understand that your voice is your superpower.
So that's why it's so important for them to take advantage of some of these classes, workshops, conferences that you're having, because it can help them to take advantage. So the one on Saturday, June the 5th, right? June the 5th, because it was changed.
Yes, I had a death in the family. So I had to change it to June the 5th. But the good thing is all your listeners, they can come, right? So I had to change the date. But yes, it is going to be June the 5th at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
So we're so sorry to hear about the loss of your family. But I'm sure that this could be a good thing for our listeners who are, have that chance to sign up. So make sure that you guys go and sign up for it, because it sounds like it's going to be amazing. So not only do you provide that workshop, but there's another workshop that you normally provide as well, right? That you offer.
Yes. So the one that you're talking about on June 5th, that's really a book celebration. That is me really kind of sharing my voice. I'm calling it a voice voyage on how I lost, leaned in, and leveraged my voice in business, and then giving, transformation techniques and strategies on how women in business can really leverage their voice. And if you want to sign up for that, again, go to speakblackwoman.com, click on events, and you can register there. Now, my signature, what I do is I really broadcast the brilliance of Black women in business. And how I do that is by literally giving their elevator pitch a makeover. Many of us will hire a coach. We will get a fancy website. We will literally buy business cards. And then when someone says, Nicole, Quinn, tell me what you do, we were like, I'm a coach. I'm an author, So what I find is the number one question that we are asked as business owners, we are missing the mark because we don't know how to properly answer that question. So what I do is I really enhance and elevate people's elevator pitch. So when they tell people what they do, the person who's listening goes from interested to invested in working with them after just one conversation. Because at the end of the day, I tell people, you want to have conversations with clients that lead to cash. And if you are telling people what you do and they're not interested, if they are bored, if they're not in tune, you're going to get dismissed. And many of us are leaving money on the table, or we're losing business, not because our product, our service, our coaching program isn't amazing. It's because the way we're explaining it is boring and bland. So what I do is I give your elevator pitch a makeover. And how I do that is through a verbal business card, which is a clear, concise, and compelling way to tell the world what you do or what you speak about.
Awesome. So Joy says she loves the title. She says she loves the title. And she said, hi, Joy. Thanks for joining in today. So what do you think about, Quinn, maybe somebody just doing a sample of what their verbal business card is, and you kind of just tweaking it a little bit, not your whole thing. What do you think? I should have asked you prior to, because I just want people to see how you just like transform.
Well, yeah, I can give you some examples. That's no problem at all. I had a guy come to me. His name was DJ, and he was a photographer. And he's one of my favorites because, I mean, you can Google search a photographer a dime a dozen. He was getting frustrated, felt like he was getting replaced by the cell phone. And literally, if you would ask him what he did on a Monday, he would say, I'm a photographer. On a Wednesday, I'm a photographer. Thursday, I'm a photographer. He's like, Quinn, I told you, I take pictures. I'm a photographer. I don't know how to say it any other way, but I'm a photographer. So after we worked together and I verbalized his value, he now says, I capture the legacy of families who want to have memorable photos that last a lifetime.
Yes. Well, listen,
the difference?
I'll never forget. I was at one of your workshops, yours and Lindsay's.
Yes.
And so I went up to this young lady and I shook her hand. And after she told me what she did and how she said it, I'm like, oh, I need work. And so that's when I signed up for your verbal business card, because I was like, when I found out that you had helped her, I'm like, oh no, that's what I need, because it was just that transformation. It really makes a difference. And like you said, if people don't understand your passion, so you can be passionate about something, but sometimes we don't allow it to come through in our words and our actions, right? But some type of way you take those words and you transform them and bring them to life, and it makes people like, wait a minute, I need to know more about this business.
Yeah. And that's what we're doing. It's marketing by mouth, right? And the thing about it is, we don't put a premium on that. Like all of the business I've got, it started with a conversation. No one's going straight to your website and buying. There's a conversation that you're having. And sometimes the conversation is physical, like you and that person on a Zoom call or one-on-one, or that person's having a conversation with your website. They're having a conversation with your social media. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that your website, your social media, your internet presence is saying good things behind your back, right? You don't want it to be all over the place. So that's what I make sure, that you are speaking so loudly, even when you're not even saying a word. And you can do that by making sure that you have verbalized your value, and you can verbally say your verbal business card, but you can also put your verbal business card certain places where people can learn about you and what you offer.
Awesome. I just felt like I should be snapping after you talk. So now you have been featured in magazines.
Mm-hmm.
Essence. You have been featured in Empower and Young Money magazines.
Mm-hmm.
You have been on Black Enterprise. Yes. Yes. So what is it like to, to be able to be featured in these amazing magazines, and, just stay humble and just being able to, still just hone your craft?
I'm grateful, but I also feel chosen. I feel like God chose me to be an example of what can happen when you, number one, are obedient to your calling, and number two, you're walking in your talent and your greatness. And more importantly, I feel like I'm supposed to be an example for other people as well, because I believe if you let your light shine bright, you give permission to those around you to shine bright as well. I live in Baltimore, Maryland, but I'm from a small town called Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where the Black population is little to non-existent. On top of that, the entrepreneurial community, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. I was born to teenage parents. My mom was 15. My dad was 17. So I think that part of breaking boxes and shattering misconceptions is supposed to be a part of my DNA. So people can see me and see you and say, if Nicole can, if Quinn can, then that means that I can as well. So I think that it's just a grateful thing, like that Black Enterprise or Essence or, empowering women, to speak out, or Vision and Purpose would see that my work is amazing enough to be featured and show the world. And I think that it's just a humbling thing. And I've never carried it like I've made it, because to be honest with you, Nicole, I'm just getting started. Like the I'm getting now, I feel like I'm nowhere even near where I'm going to be. So I think that when you keep a humble heart and your assignment, and I think I'm very clear on my assignment, and a lot of people have agendas, but when you get clear on your assignment, that you move differently and doors open for you that you can't even pay for. And I think that's the difference.
I think you're right. And even just thinking, so, we have our conference coming up, Passion, Purpose, and Pumps. And we named it Passion, Purpose, and Pumps after my quote, being fulfilled is finding your passion, and it will lead you to your purpose, and you walk it out in your pumps. And clearly, through when you speak, it tells me that you have definitely identified your passion and it led you to your purpose, and now you're walking it out in your pumps. And you even may have taken a detour, because like you said, you were selling purses. So at first you thought the purse thing was going to be your thing. So you were even doing pitches for the purses, right? And you raised all of this money, $77,000.
Mm-hmm.
And then you realized, hey, I might need to make a little detour. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, Nicole, I was pivoting before it was sexy, I was just like, I did the purses for a while, but life changed. I had when we first started, I didn't have any children, right? So we were able to go to, the sorority world, right? You're going to regionals, boules, conferences. I mean, there's so many events. At one point we had 4 or 5 people working with us, because it was like the AKAs had 3 events, the Zetas had 2 events, the Deltas had 1 event. Like, we just couldn't be at all those places. But I also started to feel burnt out and unfulfilled. Like, there's more to me than selling purses, and it's going to go back to Black women. When I would be at these events, these women would ask me, girl, what else do you do? I'm like, girl, I sell purses. Like, nah, what else? I'm like, I sell handbags. No, there's something else about clutches. I got clutches. You want a clutch? Like, that is where my brain was, because I had started speaking and I wasn't getting the traction. So I put speaking down and I picked up entrepreneurship. So it was just again, another Black woman seeing something in me, hearing something in my voice I wasn't even vocal about. So it was I knew that it was more, but at the time when you start making the money, but you're not fulfilled, when your lifestyle changes, I went from 1 child to 2 children, so I couldn't travel like that anymore. It was time. It was just time to make a shift. And I think sometimes we have to give ourselves permission to pivot. Just because you started that business back in 2007 doesn't mean you got to marry it. You could be in a different mind frame. So if you have started a business and you don't want to do it anymore, that's okay. You can change it up. You can switch it up. Your priorities change. Your interests change, right? I still love me a good handbag, but I already know them hours from literally 9 a.m. to 1 o'clock in the morning was normal. I can't do that anymore. I'll be asleep. Right? I can't do it anymore. So it was a great time. I met so many different, people, but I think that the pivot was necessary. And TD Jake said something so amazing, that you got to trust that whatever you do, it's going to lead you back to ultimately what you should be doing. So never be afraid to go down a path or take a detour, because whatever your assignment is for your life, whatever you're supposed to do, ultimately, God will get you back there. You know what I mean? It's almost like he'll be like, okay, you went on, just like a GPS, redirecting, getting you back on that route. And you'll find yourself literally back at square one. I had this idea since I was in the 5th grade, right? And they're like, what happened? Life happened. Now I'm back on it. And now I'm 45 years old, going after that idea that I had in 5th grade. So you just got to trust that whatever you do will ultimately lead you back to what you're supposed to be doing. And you got to have that trust.
And you got to step out on fear. You can't allow fear to handicap you. You can't allow fear to paralyze you. You just got to do it. You got to be like Nike. Just do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's so important for us, especially us as Black women, to be able to just go after whatever it is that our hearts desire. So Mary says, like this idea, trust you will need. You will be led back. Be led back to what you were meant to do. Yes. You will be led back to what you were meant to do. Amen to that. So we're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
Keep it locked right here on Empowered Women in Business International Radio, and we'll be right back. Empowered Women in Business International. We serve a sisterhood of women entrepreneurs and professionals who understand that individually we could do great things, but collectively we can forever change the world. Members of our movement experience a support system that allows them to celebrate their wins and share their struggles in a series of opportunities that enhance them personally and professionally. If that sounds like an organization that you would like to be a part of, visit our website at www.EWBIRadio.org. Are you a small business or even a person that's just thinking about starting a business? Well, this organization is right for you. We offer micro grants and we even highlight our members on our radio show, EWBI Radio, which airs on Elevate Your Life Talk Radio every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Tune in. Awesome. So we have some flyers that are going to come up. And all right. So this one is, please see Nicole Jones. She is collecting for women in Africa. They are using everything from leaves to discarded trash to create sanitary napkins for themselves. And she is taking up a collection to send them chemical-free sanitary napkins. So please visit www.jonesvariety.com/charity-drive for more information if you would like to make a donation. Stokes Multitasking Contracting Services, licensed and bonded, trash removal, janitorial service, commercial service, evictions, post-construction service, plus more. So just give them a call at 443-740-1077 and tell them EWBI sent you. Sisterly Sundays. We are having our International Sisterly Sundays. Connections, conversations, and collaboration. Join women from Jamaica all the way through to the United States for an evening of networking and inspiration and fun. And last but not least, our Memorial Day Bling Marathon with our very own Nakia. Check her out every weekday and weekend. Well, the weekdays are 7 p.m. and the weekends are at 2 p.m. But check her out for her Bling Marathon. Welcome back, Quinn.
Happy to be here.
Oh, we are so happy to have our queen here. If any of our guests would like to make sure you hit the share button, the like button, and also if you would like to leave Quinn a comment or a question, please feel free to just do so during our broadcast. So for Cassandra, I'm sorry.
No, I'm laughing at her comment.
Oh, yes. Quinn is a fireball. Yes, she is. She is. Always ready. Always ready. So we talked a little bit about your pitching, but we didn't really get into it. So can you tell us, how did you start with the pitching and what was that experience like?
You know, when I was in college, I went to Howard University for grad school, and there was this pitch competition that was happening in California where if you had like the best pitch, you won like $1,000. And I was like, I need to get on there. Like, I don't even know how I got the money to get there. And I remember standing in line. I probably was like the youngest person like auditioning for this. People had books. They were in suits. And I'm just like, oh my God, why am I even here? And I actually ended up winning that competition, and it would like spark something in me. And then Howard had another competition that I had won something. So then when I graduated and I got into this world and I needed money, I didn't really feel confident or comfortable going to a bank and asking for a loan or a line of credit. And I was like, these pitch competition things, if they happen for college students, maybe they have them for adults. And so I got on Google University and was like, pitch competitions. And I started to find them. And literally, like, once you're in that world, literally, like, you just learn more about the competitions, more competitions, right? So literally, I was entering, you know, I lost way more than I won. But what I gained, and which I talk about in the book, is me speaking still got me promotion and publicity. Like, I lost a business pitch competition for Black enterprise. I remember they did this search and it was $10,000 on the line and they selected me. And I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they selected me. You know, I was actually in Black enterprise twice. And I remember I was once when I was in college. And then again, when I went to go audition, when they selected me to be the competition. So I flew out to Chicago. You had 60 seconds to give your best pitch. 5 people were eliminated and you had 30 seconds to pitch again. So literally, I remember I got past the first round. It was 5 of us left. I pitched again and they announced the winner. And the winner is not Quinn Conyers. And I was like devastated because I had a whole plan with this money. But as I was done and I was trying to leave the stage, like really big girl mad, like ready to cuss on a Sunday mad, like real mad, you know, I literally saw this woman and she kept looking at me and she was taking notes and looking at me and taking notes. And finally we were face to face and she says, hi, I'm a writer for Black Enterprise Magazine. I would love to feature you and how you pitch in one of our upcoming issues. I said, ma'am, I don't know if he was at the same competition I was at, but I lost. You might want to go over there and talk to the winner. And she's like, I'm very aware of who won this competition, but I like the way you pitched.
Come on now.
So literally, when I define profit, I didn't win, but I still was able to profit and gain in an area of a media, a national magazine being featured. And now I can say I was in Black Enterprise, not once, but twice, right? So I tell people, like, profit doesn't mean about money. It's about profiting from relationships, profiting from promotion, profiting from publicity. You know how many AKAs, Deltas, and SG Rows were beating me down at that conference looking for purses? You know, so it's just like, I didn't win, but I profited in clientele. You see? So I just let people know that part of it as well. So pitch competitions was something that I was introduced to as a college student. But when I realized that pitching and public speaking, you can profit in so many more ways than just money, I made it an intentional business model in my business, and I teach others to do the same.
So tell us, so you just spoke about, you know, when you weren't successful on stage, but that turned into a success. But we know that with businesses, you have those pitfalls, right? So you have those challenges. Can you tell us, like, one of your challenges and how you were able to overcome?
Ooh, I got a laundry list. Which one you want me to pull out? You know, things just like, I mean, running out of money. Like, I mean, we talk about entrepreneurship like it's sexy. We talk about entrepreneurship like, yeah, I'm about to be my own boss. I'm about to do this. Literally, I can look back on it now, but I remember having my first son and everything was like great. Everything was awesome. You know, we were still running the business. And then I found out around my son's first birthday that I was pregnant again. And I just was like, what is going on? And I remember, you know, I was really in a dark space. I remember I had 2 kids, both in Pampers, one that was 1 and then one that was like a newborn. And I remember my husband coming home and he looked at me and he was just like, Quinn, when's the last time you took a shower? I couldn't remember. I could not remember the last time I took a shower because I was so boggled down with being this businesswoman. But now I'm a parent and I had my children. I know I got a baby face, but literally my first child at 33, my second child at 35. Or 32 and 34. So it was just something new on top of that, because I couldn't go out and do as much. My bank accounts started like diminish, right? So overdrawn accounts, you know, not knowing where, you know, humbling myself to like really like get it together. And that's the ugly side of entrepreneurship that people don't want to talk about. But there's been times where literally like, I definitely know that I was suffering from postpartum. Now that I look back on it, it was times where it was just like, I had to go to my husband, but like, I don't have it. Like, I don't have it. Like, I tapped out savings, checking account, overdrawn. And it was just like, what is going on? Like, I felt like a failure. And then you start talking to other people and you realize that you normal. Oh yeah, you got a BG and you turn off to, okay, let me go ahead and put a little something on this, right? Like people out here making entrepreneurship seem like it's a party, but when you really back the layers, like entrepreneurship will kick your ass if you ain't ready. Like if you ain't got no gloves on, you can't be going in the ring naked, because if not, you're gonna be laying there just laid out. So that was just one time that I just remember. Like I tell people, you ain't a real entrepreneur unless you couldn't pay a bill, unless you had an account overdrawn, and like it's real out here. So, and also just getting comfortable with the ebbs and flows. Sometimes you'll have a powerful month, other times ain't nobody checking for you. So the emotional roller coaster that entrepreneurship takes you through, where somebody doesn't want to buy right now, you take it personal. You don't like my stuff, you don't like my book, you don't want to buy it. Like what, so those were times where I still was just like, I don't know if this is for me. I think I need to get a job. And every time I apply for one, no, God was like, no, stop playing. Like, I know I should have got an interview for that. Like, I tried to go back. I tried to cheat on entrepreneurship, Nicole. I really did. I tried to cheat on entrepreneurship and get me a little side chick called.
How did that work out for you?
It didn't. God was like, block, block. I'm like, I know I'm qualified for that job. I think sometimes we just got to sit in uncomfortableness of choosing this, right? Like, entrepreneurship, there is no guarantees. You're assuming the risk of starting your own business. And we talk about the glorified side of entrepreneurship. We don't talk about them times where you be in a fetal position on your girlfriend's couch, she's stroking your braids or your twists, let you know what's going to be all right. And that's real. And I had to go through that. I'm like, how are we going to feed these kids?
Right.
So.
Oh yeah. I'm so glad that you are being so transparent. Thank you for being so transparent, because somebody needed to hear that. There might be somebody that is going through that right now, and they needed to hear that so that they know that you can keep on keeping on, and that, you stay your course, and look at you now.
And it's crazy because I don't really share this too often, but, it was a time where it was just like, this is not the 1940s or 50s, right? It's tough. Like, even though we had it's hard to live off of a one person household income. Like, even though people are like, oh, you got a husband. Yeah, but me and my husband's income combined was working. He didn't sign up for him plus 3. So my money was a contribution. So, I mean, it was a point where I just had to really humble myself. I was like, I got to go down here and get some assistance. Like, I got to feed these kids. Like, it was just like, I just couldn't. And the shame, the guilt that I felt, I had to bury myself, you know what I mean? And just I had to go down. This is all I could do at this point. So I always tell people I didn't wake up like this. I work for this. And you got to pay for success and blood, sweat, tears, agony, highs, lows, your sanity. All of that costs something to be successful, however you define success. Because some people might look at me or look at you and say successful, but at the end of the day, we got to pay something for this. It could be time away from your family. It could be, time, it could be so many things. So I always want to say, yes, entrepreneurship is very fulfilling, but it's also a real thing as well. And it can literally knock you down if you're not ready. And it's hard to sometimes get up, because this is almost like a baby you're birthing. And if it's not working, or it's not growing, or it's not cute, you know what I mean? You take a hit. You take a hit.
I remember there were even times where, where the business wasn't doing so well. So it was almost to the point where my husband didn't consider it a job, or, me working. So it's like, oh no, you're home all day. I'm home all day, but I'm still working. I'm literally sitting at this desk 24/7 trying to make this thing happen. So you got to give me some time. And, so I think those are the real conversations that people do have to have, because some people feel like you said, they see the glory side of it, and they feel like, oh, well, they have a husband, so it's okay. But when you are used to that two income household, and that 2 goes to 1, it's a big difference.
Well, 2 goes to 1 and you add 2, right? So in my situation, me and my husband got together in 2009. We got married in 2013. We had our first son in 2015. So for 8 years, wasn't no kids. It was just us. So it went from 1 to 4, in a matter of it was just crazy. So you're right. I always tell people oh, you got a husband. That don't This is not 1940.
And what?
Nobody bringing home, you know what I mean, this check that can take care of all of us. It doesn't work like that anymore. We have to work. And I'm glad you brought that up. It's like, because I think in the beginning, men don't really get it. My husband knows now, but I think he was like, oh yeah, you home. And so I had to bring him down and show him what I be doing. And so you understand, I'm not sitting here twiddling my thumbs. If my mouth is quiet, I ain't eating. This is how I make my money. Okay. So I think sometimes we have to educate them and let them see kind of what we're doing. So now he's just like, he gets it. Like he knows Quinn is in her revenue room. She's doing stuff. I done bought this computer. I done got a light. I done invested in stuff to kind of make me look virtually all right. So I think he understands now, and I ain't in his pockets no more. So he's like, okay, all right. You let her run her business.
No, Cassandra said, not for the faint heart. Not for the faint at heart. And that is so true. But something else that you said I wanted to touch on, you also mentioned, okay, so you were talking about, let's paint this picture for a second, right? Let's take you back to, hubby's hubby's not happy because he's like, you at home all the time and things aren't going well. What kept you going? Was it your why?
It wasn't that he wasn't happy. I think that his whole thing was, you're home all day. Why are you not doing X, Y, and Z?
Right.
It's like, but I'm not home all day eating bonbons and watching Netflix and chilling. Right. So I didn't think that he understood that I was working from home, and all the layers of that. So it was just like, well, why isn't that done? I'm like, I'm sorry, you're right. My mind was not on those dishes. Right. My mind was not on folding them clothes.
Laundry, right.
Domesticated right now, but I'm in business mode. Right. So when you are focused on getting the money, you might have walked past that pile of laundry for 3 weeks. I don't see it because mentally I'm focused on something else. So it took him having to say, I respect your business. He's an entrepreneur. Him and I ran Purse Paparazzi together. I was probably lacking in full transparency on some of the wifely duties, like making sure certain things were done. It just wasn't on my radar because I was focused on trying to bring this money in because I was always very self-sufficient. I didn't leave a 6-figure job, but I left a job making $70,000 a year to pursue full-time entrepreneurship. So we were used to having a certain amount of money coming in, right? Job, we were a 6-figure household, right? On top of that too, it's just I don't have mine for this month. I need you to, he looking at me like, and these dishes ain't done. You ask me for money, and these dishes ain't done. I'm like, dang, I gotta do something strange, some change, just make them like me again, right? You gotta That's right. I gotta do a trick. Let me go dust something off I ain't doing in a while. But I think we pushed through. But he had conversations with me. My husband is, very, he doesn't say a lot. He's definitely an introvert. But what he does say to me, it resonates. He'll say something to me, and I remember it for 2-3 weeks. It was just him really calling me out. Quinn, I appreciate you. I know what you're doing, but here's where you're lacking. And I'm like, at first, I'm defensive. What you talking about? You know what I mean? Give him all of that. What you talking about? And then I had to think about it. I'm like, yeah, but at the end of the day, he's not marrying a businesswoman. He married me for other aspects. He married me because I'm a good person. He saw wife qualities. He saw a mom. So at the end of the day, we have to understand that even though we're in this business, that our husbands still have needs that are not associated with money.
Right.
They still want certain things done. So once he kind of pointed, he's like, yo, at the end of the day, I'll go out and get a second job. It's not about that. It's just about you being attentive, to some of the things. So I just realized that I was dropping the ball on certain things, as far as our household. But by him, of course, having an attitude, because at first, what's wrong with you? Nothing. And after a while, I'm like, okay, you playing with me. Communication is my thing. Your body language is giving me not good vibes. So we're going to talk about this now. We're going to talk about this later. Okay. And then once we kind of broke it down, I was like, oh, wow.
Swallow.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, okay. But then I had to look at him and he was right. I was dropping the ball on some of the things because I was so focused on tying up my worth and my value and being able to provide and produce for myself and for my household, thinking that was the only thing that he really wanted, understanding that it wasn't.
She said, girl, you about to save some marriages. Yes.
Listen, Cassandra, I know Nicole, I know she could let me be me, but at the end of the day, sometimes you gotta be like, oh Lord, how long is it?
Let me say, no, listen, This is why I asked you the question, because, we just have to be real. And it's a lot more people than Quinn Conyers that went through that. It's a lot more people than Nicole that went through that. So with that being said, we got to be honest and be transparent in order for us to put it out there so that other women know that, number one, they are not alone. And number two, that they can get through it. Like if you and I could get through it, then they could get through it. So, it's important for us to, just put it out there. Nicole Jones says, speak the truth.
Yeah, and my whole goal is, like, I love what I do, but I want to be successful and surrounded. I don't want to be successful and single. I don't want to be making my first million, my husband slipping me the divorce papers. Then I failed.
Right.
I married the business and I didn't marry him.
Did you get that? Did you catch that?
I got you. Yes.
Right there.
Because that's what happens. It's like you so caught up in doing this, and so you look around, you at the top, and your husband's miserable. You know what I mean? Because it's like, or your kids like don't even know you because you've been so head down. So sometimes you got to understand why you're working. And I'm working, but I want to be successful and surrounded. I don't want to be successful and single. Like some women out here, they want to beat their chest and they want to be, I don't need no man. That ain't me. I need love. I need time. I need attention. I like to be cuddled. I like to be kissed. I like to go on vacation. I like all of that. Okay. I like my family. So I'm not going to sacrifice that for my business.
Right. And not only that, but the thing is that, we can't allow money to dictate our lives either. Mm-hmm. So like there's a fine balance to everything. You can't allow money to dictate. And I used to be a settlement agent. And so with settlements, you guys know when it comes to your house settlement, they might tell you closing on Tuesday and you don't close till Saturday at 7:00. And then Saturday at 7:00 is my daughter's recital. And guess what happens? So I had to miss the recital. And then I had to miss this and I had to miss that. And so I had to be real with myself where the money was excellent, but I was failing as being the mother that I wanted to be. Right. That may be okay for some people, but that wasn't the mother that I wanted to be to my children. It wasn't the wife I wanted to be to my husband, because we would have plans and all of a sudden I can't do these plans. And it would happen over and over and over again. And so I had to tell myself, look, I got to find something else to do because this is not it. This is not the life that I want to live, for my family. So, just having those honest conversations with yourself, being real and finding what works for you and your family, finding what works for you and your family, I think is the most important. But where I was going with the other question I asked you was, what is your why? Because I think that when we get to those, tough times, when you feel like it's almost like everything is not working out for the good right now, you have to focus on that why to kind of get you out of that spell and get you back onto that solid footing to know that, look, this is why I started. This is why I'm going to continue and we're going to make this thing happen.
I think, my why is it's interesting. I feel like people go through their whole lives trying to figure out their purpose and what they're supposed to be doing. They want meaning. They want fulfillment out of life. And I feel like God let me know very early on what I'm supposed to be doing. And at the end of the day, when it is time for me to take my last breath and I'm supposed to meet him and he shows me who I could have been, I want me and her to be twins. I want him to be like, oh my God, exactly when I created you in the womb is you did your assignment. Amen. I did what you were supposed to do. And I feel like, that's what it is because there's a joy and a peace that comes that can be unexplainable. You can do it and not get paid. And you're like, I'm good. Or when you do get paid, it's like, I can't believe somebody paid me for that. Like, it's almost like that, but also too, like, I really want people to understand that you don't necessarily have to go to work and get a job. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can create what you want to be. And I feel like in my family that it was a lot of go to work, get a good job and retire in 30 years. And I feel like I'm supposed to, be that person, to show that there's another way, there's a different way. And I want to leave a legacy. I wanted people to know, like, Quinn was here, she made a mark, but more importantly, me, you know, it's the fulfillment part for me. Like, you know, I do what I do because it feels good. I'm not chasing anything. And I want my boys to grow up. If you ask them right now, like, how can you make money? Get a job or start a business. I wasn't taught that. You know what I mean? So they know, but I think, you know, part of my why is just like operating in my zone of genius. Feeling good. I feel like it's my why is, you know, I don't have a car that I want, Nicole. I don't have like a dream house that I want. I do what I do because I like options. So I don't ever want to feel like, you know what? Like, I know I'm winning, but I'm like, you know what? Today's Tuesday. I think I want to go to Bermuda this weekend. Not in 2 months, but this weekend. Right. So I like to work and I do what I do because I know that when you can control your own financial freedom, you can have decisions that you can make that are not tied to anything else. So I do what I do because I like flexibility. I'm a box breaker. I'm a, you know, stereotype shatterer. And I think that, you know, if I know that on this path, I can do that, I can achieve that, but also be an example to my boys and let them know, you know, like my husband, which is so interesting, his mother was a full-time entrepreneur, and look what I am.
Wow.
So I think that by you walking in your purpose, you really give permission for other people to really explore their why, whatever that is. And everybody's why varies, right?
That's right.
And I think mine's is I like freedom. I like to be able to do what I want to do. So if I want steak, I want to eat steak and not steakums. That's a choice, right? So
but that main point is that you need to know what that why is. So during that downtime, you can remember to keep striving for that why.
And you know what, too? I think my why is I've seen glimpses. Like, you know how you might have a dream or you might daydream or you'll see something or, you know, you'll have deja vu, like you feel like you were here before. That happens to me. And I want to see that. I want to see this thing out. Right.
That's right.
It showed me certain things. I'm like, I want to walk into that. Right. So I'm why? Because I don't want to get there and I'm right here. And all I got to do is walk 2 more steps. But I didn't. Like, I'm doing what I'm doing because I want to see what this life looks like. Like, he created us for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, there was a problem on earth. He was like, only Nicole can fix this problem. Only Quinn can fix this problem. So he's shown me different things. I'm like, all right, you gonna do that in my life? A little black girl from Lancaster, Pennsylvania? I want to see this. Show me.
Wow. That's awesome. So, Quinn, you know, our time is up.
Oh, no.
Didn't it go fast?
It did.
There's so much more I wanted to talk about, but I just have to have you come back on again.
Sure.
So tell our audience how they can reach you.
Sure. So I'm Quinn Conyers on all social media platforms. And if you want to connect with me, if you're a Black woman in business and you want to really turn conversations into cash or attract customers or clients as soon as you open your mouth, go to speakblackwoman.com. Again, that is speakblackwoman.com. And if you want to come to the book celebration I have right here, which is Speak Black Woman, How Women in Business Can Profit from Public Speaking, again, go to speakblackwoman.com and click on events. But on Instagram, Facebook, Clubhouse, I am Quinn Conyers on all those platforms. You can't miss me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Quinn, for coming and dropping all those golden nuggets for all of these women to aspire to be like, or to just help them to get through everything that they're going through. You know, as a business owner, it's a difficult time sometimes, and just hearing that story really helps to make it a little easier for that travel, that transition for everyone. So thank you so much for coming to drop those nuggets. And we're going to just thank everybody for tuning in this evening. Janine said, amazing show. Thank you so much, Janine. I just love my EWBI sisters.
Oh, Janine. So yes, I know. Yes. Janine. Hey, Janine. How are you? Janine, look, Janine, this pillow from Janine.
Awesome. Yes.
So much stuff from her. Yes, I know, Janine. Yes, I got like 3 pillows over here from Janine. So yes, love her.
Yes. Thank you, Rhonda. Rhonda said, very inspiring show. Awesome. Another one, our EWBI sisters. And Cassandra Ferguson, Miss CEO of Elevate Your Life Radio says, great show. Thank you for tuning in, Cassandra. Janine says, hey, Quinn. So thank you all for tuning in. And don't forget to keep it locked every Tuesday at 7 p.m. right here on Empowered Women in Business International Radio. Don't forget to also check us out on social media, Empowered Women in Business International, as well as visit our website at www.ewbiradio.org. If you're looking for a service or a item like those pillows that you just saw, go visit our members directory. We have an online directory with all of our members' items that they sell or offer, and you can select from those items. So please visit our online directory and support our members of EWBI. So we're going to close like we always do. Individually, you can do great things, but collectively, we can forever change the world. Don't forget to tune in next Tuesday, 7 p.m. right here to Empowered Women in Business International Radio.